Russ, Gloucester away, I thought was one of those games, 1-1 before you went down there, where they looked a decent result. I suppose it was the manner of the end of the game that must have left you hugely frustrated, really.
Yeah, it did. I thought we were well worthy for the 3 points, especially with our first half performance. But we didn't take our chances to make the game a little bit more comfortable. So, you listen, when you're only 1-0 up, you've always got that vulnerability of an own goal or a kick off the back of the head, and the game's not won. So disappointed, because I thought we were well worthy of it.
Yeah, look at the Gloucester game and the Kings Lynn game before it. Kings Lynn kicked one off the line right at the death. You conceded it in added time. It could easily have been 4 more points. Couldn't it?
I think that's where we've been quite a bit this season. Just moments, really. I think we could have had a lot more points than we could have in the last 5 games, to be honest, and we could have been looking at a different story, but we haven't, and we are where we are, and we'll just have to go again Saturday.
Clearly, you're not going to give up on the playoffs till it's mathematically impossible, but it's looking like a big arse now, isn't it, really?
Oh God, yeah. It's we've got to be realistic, but we'll take what each game as it comes, and if something builds up to that, then we'll see. But we've just got to try and beat Alfreton on Saturday. A team going well, strong, good defensive record. We know what they are. They don't play any different to how they have been the last couple of years, and they're good at what they do. So we've got to be right at it.
Billy Heath's done a good job there, hasn't he, really?
He's done a fantastic job. He's done a good job everywhere he's been. So full respect to him. We know how they'll play and their style. It suits them, and we've got to make sure we counteract that.
What have you made of the league overall this year?
Standard-wise, not as good as last year. I think everyone would agree. I think consistency has not been there from anybody, bar probably Fylde and Kings Lynn. But I think Fylde are going to run away with it now. Hence why the league's probably so cramped. Bottom teams are now getting a lot of points. So I think there's got to be a big points return for the teams who go down, and I think there's got to be a low points return for probably the 5th, 6th, 7th of the playoffs. Like I said, consistency hasn't been there.
Yeah, bottom teams are picking up points. Playoff teams, with the exception probably of Chester, are not picking up points at the moment. A lot of them lost their form. Yeah,
Darlington, Scarborough, to name 2. This is what frustrates me. I think we only had to be 6 or 7 points better off, and we'll be right in it. But we aren't, and we haven't been good enough in that aspect. So we have to take our medicine and play each game as it comes. A bit of pride now, and there's certainly a lot to play for from our part.
A lot to play for individuals, presumably, as well, to make sure some of them play themselves into your thinking for next season.
Everyone, individuals for next year, contracts, respect to other managers in the league, loads to play for. I want to end the season on a high if we can, because we want to build up for next year again. That's our main focus. But we're not going to give up on anything yet. We've just got to take each game as it comes. 7 games left, 21 points will get you in the playoffs. That's how we've got to believe.
I think it is deadline day today. When we spoke recently, I think a couple of weeks ago, you were still looking around. Is anything likely to happen?
No, there's nothing. No, we fell flat with a couple, which was unfortunate. They moved to teams higher up, or the teams at that level from the league above. So that was a shame. We were close on 1 or 2. But where we are now, we'll go what we got. The good thing for us today, Joe Leesley's back playing in a reserve game today, which is fantastic. If he comes through that, he'll be available Saturday.
And that's earlier than we initially thought, isn't it? Because there was a discussion of whether or not he'd feature again this season. Yeah,
there was. Originally we did say 12 weeks. It has been 12 weeks, but you never quite think 12 weeks will be the day he comes back to play. But he's been to St George's. They've cleared everything up along with our physio, and hopefully today goes well and he'll be back at it.
I assume the planning is already well underway for next season.
Yeah, it is. Talking to players, within as well. But everyone's still got a lot to prove and a lot to play for. Big talks at the end of the year, and every day is important at this football club now. It's a position that we didn't want to be in, but we are, and we're going to learn a hell of a lot. And we've got to really nail down what we're going to be going forward.
I mean, clearly, if you reflect on the 2 seasons, last season, of course, there was all the cup run and the terrific, and I suppose the job, obviously, by definition, is easier when things are going really well. But do you learn more about yourself, you and Jimmy learn more about yourselves when you get a season like this?
Yeah, you scrutinise everything, don't you? So, we've learnt a lot. I thought recruitment on paper was good. hasn't been that way. So the questions get fired at me, and I've got to come up with the answers. So yeah, sometimes you've got to hold your hand up. We haven't been good enough. Accountability, the players haven't been good enough. But there's still bits to play for. I've seen some good positive signs the last month. We've drew 4 of the last 5, and I believe all those draws we could have won. And the Chester on another day could have been something different. So there's things there, and there's this fight there, and they look like they're playing for themselves and for me. So we have to go with those positives.
And just looking forwards, you obviously have a style of playing, you and Jimmy, and it's a style that's worked the last season. Obviously worked very well. Do you see yourself changing that slightly, given this season, or are you sticking to what you believe in?
You've got to. Well, it's not what we believe in. You've got to adapt to the players. Last year the team picked itself for 10 months. We lost some really good players in the summer, players that you can't replace. And then you try to adapt to the new players coming in, and we've gone with certain formations. I think we found one that we're comfortable with this squad, but that doesn't mean that will be the same with next year's squad. Not at all.
But the selling point you've got, of course, you are full time here, which for a lot of players is attractive.
Yeah, we're a big club. We've got a good fan base. We play good football. We've got a good surface. It's there's a load of selling points for this football club. More likely than not, we've got to be competitive. But listen, we've got to learn from it, and I've learned a huge about myself and about the football club, and hopefully that will benefit going forward.
Finally, you mentioned Joe Leasley. Obviously, that's good news. He's on the way back. How are you doing for injuries beside that?
Yeah, Alex Penny's training as well today, so we just need him to play as many games from now to the end of the season, because his season's been broken up since the start, which has been really disappointing. I haven't seen enough of Alex Penny. But there's a player in there, and we've got to try and get the best out of him for the remainder of 7 games.